We now have the privilege to talk to a very distinguished business personality and opinion leader from Japan. Our guest is Mr. Yuzaburo Mogi. He is the chairman and chief executive officer of Kikkoman Corporation, the world-famous and world-leading producer of soy sauce. Mr. Mogi, in your speech here at the symposium, you argued that free and open markets are under threat due to the global and economic and financial crisis. How does this threat express itself, and how can it be addressed by the community?
Well, I always talk about that in many occasions. I often have a press interview, and also sometimes I have a chance to speak at a seminar, so on and so forth. And I always saying that to promote market economy and globalization is important.
So the current threat of economic nationalism is especially a fundamental concern for the strongly export-oriented Japanese economy. What is the particular challenge for Japan in these difficult times?
I think Japan depends on export largely, so that Japan should be a leading country to avoid protectionism idea and tell other countries that we should avoid protectionism to have healthy growth in world economy.
I've read from your CV that you also serve as the vice chairman of the National Congress for the 21st Century Japan. What policy actions on the national level in Japanese politics must be taken in order to get your country back to a path of economic health in the future?
That is the organization to promote political reform in Japan. And now what we are doing is that we develop so-called policy-oriented politics in Japan. In order to, we believe that in order to improve quality of politics in Japan, we have to promote policy-oriented politics. Politicians, especially when election is close, they have to be seeking for opportunistic approach. However, in order to avoid, in order to increase quality of politics, we have to avoid opportunistic idea, and we have to seek for policy-oriented politics.
Your company, how is your company affected by the crisis? What are the challenges for Kikkoman in the current environment?
Fortunately, food industry in general are not so affected by recession because you have to eat every day. As our company also are not affected by recession too much. However, the soy sauce business to restaurant decreased to some extent under recession because people avoid going restaurant under severe economic conditions. However, household consumption sometimes increase under recession because they stay home.
I see. Mr. Mogi, as a very experienced business personality, What is your message to the young generation and especially to the student participants here at the symposium? What will the next generation inherit from these times we have now, and how can they prepare themselves for their future responsibility in the society and in the economy?
Well, I think young people has to have 2 specialties before they become 4 years old. Perhaps maybe after you graduate university, until 30 years old, you get 1 specialty, and until 4 years old, you get another specialty. That means before 4 years old, you can establish 2 specialties. That is important for success.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mogi. Thank you very much for this talk.